Okay. I have 5:15, so I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Of course, this special meeting will only have one item on the agenda, that is to discuss face masks or face coverings, whichever one it might be. uh, we have some here in the boardroom, and we also have three, I think. I don't know if Herbie's joined yet or not, but
Herbie's logging in right now.
okay. I'll make a little quick announcement along the line. Some of y'all may not know, but Fred has been in the hospital with pneumonia. He was supposed to get out today. Rachel says he does not have COVID, but he has had a pretty bad case of pneumonia. So I didn't get to see if he got home this afternoon, but he was supposed to. So anyway, so y'all remember Fred, with his health conditions, that's not good.
Hope he gets to feeling better soon. Get out of that hospital and come home.
Definitely.
Yeah. Make him feel better just to get home, probably.
Absolutely.
All right. Just kick off the discussion about the face mask. I'll say for a long time I did resist. I participated in a call in with the governor today, and he is definitely asking all mayors to have some type of order for masks. And he don't want to make that call for the entire state, because there are some areas that are doing really, really well, less than 50 cases in a county. But he didn't come out and just say it in that many words, but he is strongly pushing towards mandatory face masks or face coverings. And so to start the discussion, anyone have any opinions or ideas?
Can I just check quickly? Herbie, are you able to hear and speak?
He must know.
Oh, how about now, Herbie?
I got it now, finally.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Herbie.
Good evening, everyone.
We got you now. Okay. I think the first question I have, and I'm going to ask this to Daniel, who's sitting across the table off the camera, but if we go forward with this, do we do it under an executive order or an ordinance? Because an ordinance, a law has to be published, does it not?
Yes, and so, well, your executive order will then be, it's the board acting as it is, and so the board has the authority underneath the statutes in which we created the first emergency protective plan that we had for Water Valley, and so it can go into immediate effect due to the purpose in which you're creating it for.
Okay.
It is not one of those that requires it to be published and all that other jazz.
Okay. Did everyone hear that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I would caution that if y'all do decide to move in that direction, that just to protect everybody's due process rights, that it would be, go into effect at a certain date, not exactly right now, but maybe Friday at 5 or something similar to that.
Yeah, most of the ones I have read and seen, they give the public at least about 3 days to prepare for it, because not everyone may have masks right now, and if we do require signage, which it would be required, I'm sure, give businesses time to have signage either made or something like that. Okay. Any thoughts of what this, if y'all want to proceed, what this should include?
Well, I guess first, before we go into that, I just want to state that I know that in our community, we have people that are on both sides. Some don't want to wear a mask for various reasons. Some do wear a mask and want others to wear a mask. And I just feel that it's key for us as the Board of Aldermen and city leaders to protect ourselves, number one, our families, and then everyone else that's in the community.
Okay. So I think probably the first thing, do we just entertain a motion that we come up with a ordinance requiring some type of face covering, mask, etc., and then open the discussion, what we will include in it.
This
Okay.
is Cinnamon. I know you can't
Okay.
see me, but I'm on a phone. I spoke with one of the ER doctors yesterday after watching how the state has progressed through and watching Governor Reeves give his daily updates. Our numbers are spiking. They are going up. We are bordering with a county, Grenada, who already has a mandatory face mask covering ordinance from the city and also by the governor's office. I've been told that there are no ICU beds from Corinth to Hattiesburg in any hospital, and all the ICU beds are all COVID. And the State Medical Association thinks that Mississippi is about 5 days away from having the entire healthcare system overloaded with COVID patients. People aren't really doing what they're supposed to do, being not washing their hands or social distancing, staying within 6 feet of one another, or wearing a face covering. They're not separating themselves from other sick people. And right now, we don't have a vaccine. People are saying that, it's like the flu. Well, it kind of is similar to the flu. It is a virus, but it's more highly contagious. Humans have never seen it before. And we still do have a flu season everywhere. So it's going to be possibly worse when it gets cooler, when flu season comes around. Right now, we do know how to treat it better than we did 3 months ago, so that's on our side. People talk about herd immunity. Herd immunity is going to be achieved through vaccines and natural infection. And as the governor stated today, we will have to be around 80% of Mississippi population would have to have contracted COVID and also recovered from it and not die. So that's how herd immunity works. So that'll take quite a while for that to happen. And while we're waiting on herd immunity, we need to continue to take precautions such as wearing face masks, face coverings, washing our hands, and social distancing at least 6 feet apart. So I did read an article today that the state of Mississippi, the Department of Health, did ask the governor to mandate a mask order for the entire state. He's just kind of waiting, holding back to do that. And like our mayor just stated, he's kind of looking to communities, counties, and municipalities to kind of take those steps locally to help him not have to do an overall mask ordinance, simply because there are other places that don't have the statistical evidence of infection like some of the hot spots. But because we border a hot spot, I think that it's just the next step to, we've already asked people to cover their face with masks. We've asked. We put it in the paper. We've made a plea, please protect yourself and protect others. And I'm in favor of taking a step forward of having a temporary face mask ordinance. It might not last very long, but I think that it will help in the coming weeks and possibly months to slow the rate of infection in our area. Today we have just a couple of statistics I wrote down here. Today we're at 208 total cases in Yalobusha County and 9 total deaths, and 862 new cases were reported today in the state and 23 new deaths. And the state statistic is 37,542 total cases and 1,272 deaths in the state of Mississippi since March 11th. Thank you for letting me speak.
Okay. Anyone else? Like I said, I would entertain a motion, and because that'd be the first order, we need a motion to speak to, and then to build an ordinance from that motion.
I make that motion.
All right, that was Nicole makes a motion that we come up with an ordinance requiring face masks or face coverings. Do we have a second?
A second?
Ms. Kagan?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, discussion. Several things has to be built in. You just can't just say, okay, we're going to have an ordinance. What will this ordinance contain? First of all, I think we need to have a definition of what we will require as a face covering. Of course, everybody's gotten familiar with the term mask. So, I mean, that's one term. But looking at a lot of other different places, they've gone everything from bandanas to, of course, homemade masks to anything that's just not a shirt pulled up over your head. So we would need some type of guidance as to what we want that verbiage to say there as what a face covering is.
Could we say masks, scarves, and bandanas, etc., but covering your face with a shirt is not acceptable? Can it be that
We can do
simple?
that. It can be.
And covering both your nose and your mouth.
A covering that covers both
Yes.
nose and mouth. That is a mask, bandana, handkerchief, some type of covering as long as it's not a shirt pulled up over your face.
Right.
Okay.
Mayor, have you seen a copy of Coffeyville's ordinance?
I've seen Caulfield's, I've seen Oxford's, I've seen Grenadas, I've seen Charleston's,
Okay. All right.
I've
So,
seen
you-
Biloxi's.
so they probably got close to the same wording, if I guess.
That was a pretty well generic thing that was, I would guess, written by the municipal league.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could adopt the wording from that generic that was put out by them.
Yeah, I read that, and I pretty well agree with what they put in theirs, instead of having to go through a long drawn out order, I guess. But as you know, everyone know, in our last meeting or meeting before last, that I expressed my views on mandating anybody to do anything. But with asking, we failed, and I agree that we tried our best to do it in a way that we would ask you to do something instead of mandating that you have to do it. But with the case at 208 and 9 deaths in our county, it's up to us to do something, and I'm in full agreement with the mask ordinance now.
Okay, so I think we've got the definition of covering. I think the next thing would be, when would this go into force?
And who it's going to affect? Are we just looking at businesses?
But that's also on my list. I've had, which I'm sure y'all have too, people contacted from both sides.
I haven't. I'd like to say this out loud. I've been contacted by 2 people since March about anything dealing with COVID or mask. And those 2 people were for a mask ordinance. I've not heard anybody contact me, from healthcare services all the way to voting citizen, and I'm easily contacted. And I've been very surprised that I haven't heard anything else from anyone to be for or against.
I've got plenty both ways, and I had some today, especially since the meeting was announced. Again, both some for and some against, but either way, we're going to get criticized either way. So
Right.
we asked for the job, so that's fine.
If I may, I am happy to talk to anybody who thinks that wearing a mask is an imposition that is too much. I'll have that conversation all day long. I'm in town every day. If it feels too conservative, we're going to be annoying some folks. If we don't do this, I honestly believe more people are going to die. And I'm willing to make that trade-off. I've had a few folk contact me. Everybody has been in support that has bothered to reach out. There are some questions about where, and I just went through this activity with my children last night because we're really seriously talking about attending school and how that works. And we went through the whole exercise of drawing how contact with people spreads and how quickly it spreads. And I think that for an ordinance to be effective, we need to require people to wear masks whenever they're in contact with people outside of their family. When they're walking into an enclosed space, they need to, and I understand that will include churches, but this is about health right now.
I agree with what you said, except the last, because that's one thing that even the governor's kind of back dictating to the churches and the separation of church and state. But I agree that, it's time for the mask or the face covering. And Daniel advised me, do we need to go ahead and vote for it, or do we need to build it and vote for the entirety?
I would suggest let's go ahead and vote for the entirety and just let's keep building it until we get it to where we want it.
So vote now and then,
No, I'm saying.
wait till the
Yes,
entirety. Okay.
Get all
We'll wait till we build it, then we'll vote for the entire ordinance at that point in time. I think everybody's in favor of it, so I think we can go ahead and build it because
Yes.
everyone has spoken for it. So that's okay. You brought
I'm speaking out of love and care for my community.
so Kagan brought the point. Where do we require it? Again, the generic thing is any public buildings, I'd say, or retail establishments, and then you get into offices.
I mean, if it's open to the public, offices are open to the public. So,
Right.
I mean, the Herald tomorrow, everybody would need to be, well, not tomorrow, but Monday morning would have to be wearing masks.
And, so we would say that if any public office, retail stores,
All businesses is open to the public shall require all employees and customers to wear masks. That's all businesses and establishments that we have in Water Valley.
and that's when you are in contact with the public. Because I'll use Daniel for an example. If he's sitting in his office with no clients in the office, it's no reason for him to have the mask on at that point in time.
That's right.
Right. If you're in contact with other people.
You're in contact with the public.
Yeah, within 6 feet, that's still the governor's order.
Yeah,
We're also building off of his order as well.
yes, that's right. He always made it plain. We could make his orders tighter, but we could not loosen them any.
Correct.
So the place would be all public places where you're in contact with the public. Look at Vivian over here. She's going to have to get her mask out. So, okay, what age limit do we start this at? Having 5-year-old grandkids, I can't imagine.
Yeah, no child under 2 can wear a mask. A lot of the ordinance in the one that I read from Municipal League and Coffeyville as well, age of 10, which seems reasonable.
Okay, that brings up another point. Schools. Do we have the authority to dictate to the schools?
No,
That-
sir, we don't.
I think we do.
We do? Okay, I thought the school board had to do that.
No, we can override them as the governing municipality.
Okay.
But I would
And-
say definitely yes, include them then.
And but the thing, especially, and I don't mean this flippantly, but because I know y'all have kids in school here, but the kids are the ones that I'm not as concerned about because they seem resilient. But there are some teachers there and some administrators that do have some health problems and things like that. So,
And
The school-
everybody has family and everybody has parents, and
Yeah.
it's a geometric contagion.
yeah.
The school has already informed the parents, because I'm one of them, that all the children will require face coverings, including my 5-year-old. So my wife's already ordered his. So
Okay,
they-
so that's already been done.
Okay. So,
Correct.
yeah. So
So do we need to address that or just leave it as is?
if
With the
it's if the schools are addressing it, if not,
yeah,
they would be notified that it applies to them also.
I wouldn't specifically
We won't name
include
them.
exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't put the school system in there if they've already done what they're, what they're going to do.
Okay, so with the age limit outside of schools, so take a child down to the store, if he's 5, you have a mask on, or if it's 10 or 12, where do we start that age?
How are we gonna card them?
10,
10? Does 10 sound reasonable to everyone?
Does,
yeah, 10.
I think
Okay.
that would be fine. I mean, if people are going to put a mask on a small child over the age of 2, they're probably already doing that.
That's
I'm not
correct.
sure. I don't know. That's speculation.
That's probably right.
Mine does, so some others may as well.
Yeah. Okay. Another big thing that probably, to me, the biggest thing is that thing called enforcement. Who do we put that burden on? Do we put that burden back to the business owners, like a lot of towns have done? Do we put fines, and who? Does business owner have to call the police because they're the only one with authority to fine?
Well, if I can briefly address, this is a very serious topic, and I know it's a very serious topic, and I tend to approach things with a little bit of levity because I address so many serious things throughout my day that if I don't approach everything with a little bit of levity, everything is just morose. But in this instance, I feel that implementing it in a way that both the citizen and the business owner are both equally liable in that situation would be the best way to create implementation by the people, because everybody will understand that it's their responsibility. And so what I mean by that is, if I understand as Crow Martin that if the city PD comes by and sees that we're doing a loan closing and there's people in my office and neither I nor the people there have face coverings, I could be cited with a ticket. In the same breath, those people who are there, who have come into a business, they could be cited with a ticket also. I personally think that I think it's fair to share the burden.
Equitable.
Right. And that way it allows me to tell my clients, as well as the other businesses would be able to tell, Sprint Mart would be able to tell their people, we're sorry. It's not us. It's the dirty politicians. You're going to have to wear your mask.
I told you we was going to take the blame.
Yeah. But it doesn't, it shares the burden.
Right.
I agree. I would prefer that we are the folks that are the bad guys, and we don't have our citizens upset with each other. It's simply upset that if they are upset.
Well, then y'all can turn around and say it was that dirty attorney. He's the one that told us to do it.
I'd say it's that dirty governor that put pressure on us today.
So what you're getting at is that all businesses open to the public should post a sign notifying the customers that a mask is required before they enter the building, and they won't allow a customer to enter the building if they're not wearing a mask or face covering.
Or, yeah,
It's like that in Oxford, and I've shopped
Yes.
up there at a couple of places. I just had to go, but
That is
so I
correct.
think that would cover it, don't you think?
they could put
Just put a
per
sign. You
order,
got to, we'd tell them, hey, put a sign up on your door, and everybody will know.
per order of the mayor and board of aldermen
Hmm.
must have a mask to
Yeah.
enter this establishment. And then do we want to put a fine? I've seen some ridiculous fines. I have.
I've got a recommendation for that too, if y'all like to hear it.
Okay.
I think that $100 for the first fine and any subsequent fines to be $200 for each subsequent event. I think I don't want to pay $100 out of my back pocket for anybody. So
So one town had 1,000.
yeah,
That's excessive, and I think, yeah.
The actual ordinance for emergency orders because of pandemics is $500 is what it states in the state ordinance. So, I mean, I'm comfortable for whatever y'all decide legally up to $500 as a business owner here in the city, and as I would like to think a reasonable-minded person. I think $100 will get people's attention, and $200 is a good licking.
Yeah.
I think that amount is fine.
What's the least it can be, Daniel?
It could be
According to state
$5.
statute.
The ultimate thing is once you come to court, there's court fines on top of it. So Miss Vivian, I mean, that's the fine with the court fees. It's going to be $165, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be $165 if they had court and were found to. So even at 100, it's still $165. I mean, people aren't considering the court costs on top of the penalty.
Both those numbers seem much better to me than the 250, 500 I've seen, because we're just trying to remind people and adjust behavior. I would like to have our police force still have the ability to use judgment. So there's a big difference between someone who forgot and it's in their pocket and they pull it out immediately and put it on, and someone who's belligerent and actively putting other people at risk.
Hmm.
That's true.
I agree.
And we'll have some of that, I'm sure.
I've seen
So,
some that include jail time, but we don't have to do that, do we?
no.
I don't
No.
think that's necessary.
No,
I don't want to pay for someone to be in jail and it's not a safe place for them.
I have to have a
It would,
mask on.
it would be counterproductive to the point of stopping the
It would be ridiculous. Right?
pandemic.
yes.
So is everybody comfortable with first offense 100? Or would you, I mean,
To answer Cinnamon's question, it could be as cheap as $5. I mean, it could be anything, but
I don't want to leave the space where it's small enough where people feel like it's a protest event. We don't have time for that.
No, I think $100 is fine for the first offense.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
All
And then
right.
once it happens to a couple people and they have to pay that, then the word will get around and I think people will.
And if you pay your ticket, Daniel, you don't go to court, correct?
no, you still have to pay the court costs because once it's docketed, it's automatically put on there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
As the form-
Like a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
And, I've been looking at this. It's like a seatbelt. There's a seatbelt law. It's something that you're putting on your person to protect yourself and others. And, ultimately, we're just trying to do the best we can to make our community safe.
Like I
It's
said,
not some kind of
Community.
punishment.
we know right up front that there's going to be a population that's going to disagree with it. That's okay. You're always, anytime you make any type of ordinance or any type of statement even, you're going to have a certain number of people that disagree with you, and that's fine.
Right.
And like I said, we can tell all the business owners and all this, blame it on the mayor and board of aldermen. It's our ordinance, okay? So that,
Well, I'm okay being a bad guy. If it's protecting people, I'm okay with that.
that's fine, yeah. I've been called
Or-
bad guy. I'm in
Yeah, or the
insurance.
possibility of protecting people,
Yeah,
if they don't believe in the science.
Right. We have to look out for each other.
Yeah,
Okay,
still.
so they will have to post signage. So anything else we need to include in this, Daniel?
I saw in a few of them, there was a mention of a curfew. I didn't see a
No.
benefit.
curfews are unenforceable, really, in my opinion, and I think our chief has expressed that in the past. Because, do you require everybody that goes to work at 10 o'clock at night to keep a piece of paper from his boss saying, I'm going to work?
We have at least 3 large employers in town that work multiple late
Yes.
shifts.
Right.
So, so I just don't like curfews.
I don't think we
I
need
think we
one.
need that.
Don't we just have a regular curfew in place for children
Right.
under 18 already?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so that I don't think we need to add a curfew at this time.
No.
I don't think so either.
All right, a time that we put this in effect and how long we keep it in effect.
Oh,
I would give at least until Friday to have a few days to source masks.
Friday morning, Friday evening,
How about Friday at noon?
Friday at noon. That'll work.
That's good.
That's fine with me.
And I would propose that we don't put an end date on this so that we lift it when the health numbers are better.
Right.
I agree.
Just gauge it as time goes on.
we can just say that it's in place until
Okay.
the order is
Anything else?
amended or superseded by another order.
Well, yeah.
Kind of like the governor's done. I forgot how many he's up to now. Okay.
And do we need to specifically put city employees in there, or they just, because that's not really a business. Do we need to have a separate little section that says a city employee has to have it on too?
No, I
When
think
they're coming in contact with citizens or customers.
when they meet the public, that takes care of that, I think.
Okay.
How would I
What-
put enterprise that is having contact with the public?
Yeah. That
Okay.
worded. Yeah. Okay.
Instead
So
of just business.
What do we do? So we have some departments that put 4 or 5 folks into a vehicle together. Can we spread that out and not have more than 2 people in a vehicle?
Or just wear a mask.
we probably don't have enough vehicles to spread them out like that to get them to a work site. But we could, of course, as soon as they get to the work site, I mean, they're out, most of them right in the back of a truck anyway, to a work site. This heat especially, they could not wear a mask outside working.
Well, they're not going to be contacting the public if they're on a mower or running a weed eater or something like that anyway. They
Right.
wouldn't have to wear one. But if someone like approached them,
Then they put it on.
have your mask in your pocket, pull it out. The city's been donated masks, so I think everybody's got one.
Okay, and Andy's got a question for us. He's here with us.
A lot of times with us working, I mean, we'll be up in the bucket. We're shoulder to shoulder, 2 guys in a bucket, have another one bunkered up to it. My guys ain't wearing a mask in the air like that, being around each other. You're going to get somebody hurt, overheated, or make them fog their glasses up and grab the wrong thing. I mean, we've got to have some kind of leniency for the department, especially mine, because most of the time you're going to see 2 or more guys, 2 guys in each bucket alone.
Well, that's what I don't necessarily think that that's what the board is talking about. I think in the initial discussion, it was business or business enterprises that are dealing with the public, and 2 employees working together that are going to be eating lunch together, riding in the same car to work together. I mean, that's not necessarily, I don't think, something that at the initial part of this conversation we were envisioning. So I agree with Andy that would create problems, but I don't think that what we were initially discussing encompassed that.
We had not discussed vehicles for other people. I don't think we're mandating masks for people driving around together.
No.
And outside activities is,
I mean, as
Yeah.
Kagan pointed out a month or so ago, it's the concern that to receive services, you have to put yourself at risk by potentially infecting yourself to receive basic services, as in he, in the last motion, to require food services and medical provider, medicine providers to wear masks. In that same breath, we're trying to prevent the public from having to put themselves at risk to receive business services. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I want to be clear, we're including houses of worship in this ordinance. Is there disagreement on that point?
Of course, it is for me, but I don't.
Is that considered?
We
Hard to
can,
have
we can
Sunday
strongly recommend they do it, but you get into, again,
If they're not a business, that's not what we're
operation,
talking
church,
about.
state.
It's a business.
So if we just look at this practically, what we're trying to accomplish,
Yeah,
if
we're
everybody
trying
is safe for 6 days out of the week and then they all get together unmasked on Sundays, we won't have accomplished anything.
Most of the churches that I've talked with the pastors, and I know that my church, we do social distancing. We have to, and every other pew, and then they disinfect for the next service and alternate pews and things like this. And if you're sitting too close, someone's not family, brother, it get on you.
We're social distancing in Sunday school.
Yeah.
In the counties where the governor has made,
And a lot of people wear. A lot of people. He hands off on churches. That was his opinion. That he didn't want to step there.
so has he not, in the 13 counties that he has mandated masks, are churches exempt?
I don't recall seeing that in his order at all. Even mention them in those 13 counties. Even. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember seeing it.
The issue is
These churches are to cut out services again, the whole.
Yeah, it's like Mark was just saying, the Methodist Church has stopped having services again, and that may come about.
I think that in the, I don't want to say this, for example, in the earlier scenario that people have to provide medicine and food for themselves, but they don't have to voluntarily, they voluntarily go to church. They don't have to. And so there are many people that are not coming to our church services and church provided benefits because they have medical conditions. And to that end, I would strongly hesitate against implementing this against the churches, because you have to make sure that, because in essence it's a private building and they're open to the public, but it's a right. And so if we do that, we have to make sure that we're encompassing other private buildings that are also open to the public, and clearly define them so that there's no singling out of religion over other businesses. I can't think
I have your answer, if I can interject, for the executive order from the governor, including those 13 counties. It's focusing on businesses. So all employees and business, are required to keep at least 6 feet from other employees or wear a face mask. So wearing a face mask, and then they're screening employees, their temperature, which we're not doing. In retail business is what we're looking at mostly today. Employees in contact with the public must wear a face covering. Members of the public must wear a face covering at all times in retail business. We're looking at if they are coming in contact with the public. So the example comes back with Daniel. If you're not in contact with the public, you don't have to wear a mask in your business. But churches are going to be under social gatherings and events. And in those places, social gatherings are limited to 10 individuals indoors and 20 outdoors, and a distance of at least 6 feet between individuals must be maintained. Now, several times this week, the governor was asked that question, and that is not part of a retail business or business. He says it's gatherings and events. So a distance of 6 feet or more must be maintained between others at all public events, indoors and out, or else face coverings should be worn. So I don't think we're addressing churches with when we're looking at businesses and their employees and customers.
I agree with everything you just said.
So does that mean that in those counties, the churches are being restricted on how many folks can congregate?
Now, I think he specifically answered a question that he would exempt them,
And
and hoping that they did the right things that he being asked them to do as far as distancing and
So my concern is that without sharing who I've had conversations with, I think this is another area where there are some leaders in our churches who would really like someone else to be the bad person and mandate this so that they could just enforce it.
Yeah.
And it may be that we have to wait another month to get to that point, but I think we will be at that point.
if we continue to have escalating numbers, especially in the city, county, we may have to come back for another meeting and include it. So we can
Yeah, I
always,
just read this entire order. I don't mean to interject, but churches are not addressed in the executive order that we're talking about for the 13 counties. I think
okay, so I think we're ready probably to this and hold, and we'll get Daniel to write all this up the way we want it, and he can email it out to us, but we still will, it'll go into force Friday at noon. And so all in favor of the motion,
Aye.
and that would be unanimous.
Do a mask. Mr. Mayor,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, before you vote, how are we gonna handle restaurants?
they're still covered under the state ordinance.
But it's a retail business. If you drop this ordinance, you're gonna have to eat your taco through a mask.
He's right.
You can go more, you're going more than the state.
Yeah.
So if you don't exclude
well, yeah,
diners, you're
we
going
do need to
tacos through a
put it-
mask.
an exclusion there that restaurants while eating, you don't have to, you have to wear it in, but you certainly take it off. So
While socially distant. So once you establish your seating area, but that doesn't mean servers would be masked.
servers are supposed to have masks.
Yeah, that's the state ordinance.
All employees have to. That's part of the governor's order, yes. So we'll put that in there also. Okay, since that was the only call for today, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, Kagan, second. Thank y'all.
Thank you.